Okay, so this what we're going to be doing is Jan 2022, right? They told you, number 8, the function f of x is 3 plus 5x minus x squared. Complete the table for the values for f of x below. So they told you what is x minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you want to find out when x is 0, what is f of 0? When x is 1, what is f of 1? When x is 4, what is f of 4? And when x is 6, what is f of 6? So let's do it. So we know that equation for f of x is equal to 3 plus 5x minus x squared. So when x is equals to 0, that means we want to find f of 0, which is equals, wherever we see x, we're going to put 0. So it's going to be 3 plus 5 by 0 minus 0 squared, right, which is equals to 3 plus 0 minus 0, which is equals to 3. So we know that when x is equals to 0, f of x is equals to 3. Right, the next one, they're going to say x is equals to 1. So that means wherever we see x, we're going to put 1. So f of 1 is equals to 3 plus 5 by 1 minus 1 squared. So this is going to be 3 plus 5 minus 1. Right, that is equals to 8 minus 1, which is equals to 7. So we know that when x is equals to 1, f of x is equals to 7. This one here, when x is equals to 4, right, that means f of 4 is equals to 3 plus 5 by 4 minus 4 squared is equals to 3 plus 5 fours are 20 minus 16, right? That is 3 plus 4, because 20 minus 16 is 4. 3 plus 4 is equals to 7. So we know this one is equals to 7. And then we want to know when x is equals to 6, f of 6 is equals to 3 plus 5 by 6 minus 6 squared, right, is equals to 3 plus 5, 6 fives are 30, minus 36, right, that's 3 minus 33 minus 36, which is equals to minus 3. So when x is equals to 6, f of x is equals to minus 3. Right? So my coordinates that I'll have to plot, because they plotted it already in the question. If we look at the next page, the graph that they gave us, they already give us some points. So the ones that are missing are the ones that we had to find out, which is when x is 0, y is 3. When x is 1, y is 7. When x is 4, y is 7. Right? And when x is 6, y is minus 3. So these 4 points we have to plot. The first one is 0. I'm going to put it in blue so you guys can see. When x was 0, y was 3. So that is on my y-axis. So that means this point right here. If we know x is, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So when y was 3, x was 0. Right? The next one that we have to plot is when x was 1, y is 7. So we're going to look up here, x is 1, y will be 7. That is this coordinate right here. Right? The next one that we have to plot is when x was 4, y was also 7 again. That would be this point right here. And then the last one was when x was 6, y was minus 3. which would be right here. And we have our parabola, our U-shaped curve. Right, so our graph would look something like this, right? Now, let's do part B. Write down the equation for the axis of symmetry of the graph f of x is equals to 3 plus 5x minus x squared. Now, if we know anything of a line of symmetry, we know, right? I'll give you the equation for it. But we know for our line of symmetry, that is where both sides are equal, right? If you were to fold it in half, that is the line I'm looking for. So the formula for axis of symmetry, which is very important, please take the note of this, is x. Okay, so for axis of symmetry, x is equals to minus b all over 2a from our equation here, right? So if we look at our equation here, remember a quadratic equation is always in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. If we recall, a quadratic equation, again, is always in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is your coefficient on the number that is in front of x. We're taking the sign as well. B is your coefficient of x, that is the number and sign that is in front of x, and c is the number by itself. So if they gave us the equation 3 plus 5x minus x squared, that means a is my number that is in front of x squared, which is minus 1. B is equal to the number in front of x, which is equals to 5, and c is equals to 3. So now I know for my axis of symmetry, x is equals to minus whatever b is, which is 5, divided by 2 by a, which is minus 1. Which is negative 5 divided by negative 2, right? The negatives will cancel out. So you get 2 into 5 is 2.5 or 2.5. 2 into 5 2 times, remainder 1 over 2, which is 2.5. Right? So we're going to look at my, what you call this thing? My graph, and look for where x is equal to 2.5. We see that the distance between 2 and 3, right, is half of that. So we're going to look at the distance half of 2 and 3, which is right here. So this here would be 2.5, and you're just going to draw a straight line up. So you're going to draw a line passing through our parabola, going straight through the x-axis, go straight down. So the line that is, I'll put this in red, right? This red line is my axis of symmetry, which is equal to x is equal to 2.5 or 2.5. And that would be my axis of symmetry. So again, this is x is equals to 2.5, or you could say x is equals to 2.5. That would be equation for my axis of symmetry. And it said state the maximum value of the function. What that means is I want to know what is my value when x is 2.5. What is f of 2.5? So you're going to say x is equals to 2.5. We're going to put it in this equation. So when x is equals to 2.5, what is f of x? So that would be, let me do this on this side, f of 2.5 is equal to 3 plus 5 by 2.5 minus 2.5 all squared, right? This is equals to 3 plus 5 by 2.5 is 12.5. And then 2.5 all squared. I did this on my calculator, guys. You can put this entire thing in your calculator and you'll get an answer. I'm just doing it step by step. 2.5 all squared is negative 6.25. And you just put this in your calculator. 3 plus 12.5 minus 6.25 is equals to 9.25 or 9.25. Now, sometimes, guys, they may tell you you need to use your graph to find this answer, and I will show you how to find your graph. So your maximum is the point at which your parabola is at its highest, so 9.25. So you're going to look at your graph, and you have to look at where this axis is. What is f of x? So f of x is also known as y, right? So this here would be between 8 and 9 is 8 and 10 is 9. So this is 9. And then right here where the axis of symmetry intercepts my f of this parabola, which should be 9.25. Now, I would say, guys, always do it this method and just say that you use the graph to find the answer, because sometimes you don't know how high up to go when you're drawing this. So you may make a slight mistake. So always just check it back. So when they ask for the maximum value, you find your axis of symmetry, which is minus b over 2a, right? And then that would give you what x is equal to. You put that value into your function and you'll get your maximum value. So when x is equal to 2.5, my maximum value for my function is equals to 9.25 or 9.25, and that would be your answer for part B. So part C says, write down the coordinates of the points where y is equals to 3 minus a half x when it crosses the x-axis. We know when the point it crosses the x-axis, that means y is equals to 0. And the point at which it crosses the y-axis, that means x is equals to 0. We already have an equation, so when y is equals to 0, you're going to put it in this equation. All right? So that means 0 is equals to 3 minus a half x. We want to make x the subject. We always want positive x, so we're going to carry across this negative a half x and turn it to positive. So it's going to be a half x is equals to 3. Then you're going to carry across a half, so x is equals to 3 divided by a half, which is equals to 3 multiplied by 2 over 1, which is equals to 6. So it crosses the x-axis, so they want the coordinates. That means x is 6, y is 0. And that would be my coordinates at your x-axis. On my y-axis, they say when x is equals to 0. That means when x is equals to 0. So you're going to put it in this equation where you're going to say y is equals to 3 minus a half by 0. That is y is equals to 3, because a half by 0 is 0. So my coordinates, x would be equals to 0, y would be equals to 3. This is my coordinates. And then they said on grid page 22, which is the grid page, draw the line y is equals to 3 minus a half x. This is easy because we already have two coordinates, so we're just going to plot it and then connect them. The first one is 6, 0. So x is 6, y is 0. So we're going to put it here. I'm going to put it in purple. So this is right here. And then the next one is when x is 0, that is on my y-axis. Y is 3. So that is this right here. Again, we have that coordinate. And then we're going to connect these two lines to show where y is equals to 3 minus a half x. So that is this line right here. Right, I'm going to put it in purple so you guys could see. Right, and this line here would be, hold on, I'm just going to label it. Y is equal to 3 minus a half x, right? That's the purple line there. Then they said using the graph, determine the solution to the equation. Y is, so they're basically asking you, when they say using the graph, to determine where these two intersect. So if we use the graph, at what point does my parabola and this purple line intersect, right? If we look on one side here, we know that is when 3, 0. So when x is 3 and y is 0, they intercept. And then the next one here is this point right here. I don't know if you guys are seeing it. Let me just zoom in. Right? That would be 5. This is oh. So this, guys, if I drew it properly, it's actually supposed, oh god, hold on. So I had to draw it back, but where the intercept was this coordinate right here. Let me just, oh gosh, this is too big, hold on. Right, so they intercept at this coordinate right here. Right, and if we look at this coordinate right here is between 5 and 6, so this is 5.5. So x is 5.5, and then you go straight across in your y-axis, right? And this is supposed to be 0.25. Right, so my coordinates at where they intersect was 3, 0, which was pretty easy to find out. Right, the 3, 0. So right, 3, 0, that just means x was equals to 3 and y was equals to 0. And the next coordinate was x was equal to 5.5 and y is equal to 0.25. Now, if you cannot, if you're kind of second guessing yourself with this y value and you're kind of trying to determine it on the graph and you're not 100% sure, right, what you can do is we already have an equation for it. So if we know x is 5.5, y is equals to 3 minus a half by what x is equals to 5.5. Right, so you get y is equals to 3 minus 5.5 is 5.5 multiplied by 0.5 is equals to 2.75. So y is equals to 0.25. Right? So we know this could be your next coordinate. When x is 5.5, y is 0.25. Right? You can either this could be for you just to make sure that your values are correct. You can check it back. Right? So if we know when x is 3, y is 0, let's see. When x is 3, so y is equals to 3 minus a half by 3, which is 3 minus 3 over 2. Sorry, when x is equals to 3, y is equals to 0, right? We already know that is correct. And then when x is equals to 5.5, we put it in here. 3 minus a half by 5.5, you get y is equals to 0.25, right? And that would be your answer for this here. If they say using your graph, you can use a graph like I just now showed, but if you wanted to make sure that your answer is correct, you can always just do this way, where if you have your x value, put it into the equation with y is equal to, and you'll get your answer. All right, and that was the end of January 2022.